belief on India-Pakistan relations has remained a much debated one. You have spoken about, your belief in a kind of peace that some might call today a utopian idea, especially look at what the turmoil within Pakistan today. Do you think, given your experience in Pakistan as a foreign service officer, your being on track to initiatives, do you think today, looking at the churn in Pakistan, that you have too romantic a view of it?
Look at the Soviet Union. The churn in the Soviet Union was much more serious than whatever is happening in Pakistan now. And yet, we retained a policy of friendship with that country, whether it was called the Soviet Union or it became the Federation, the Russian Federation, and has remained at the same level whether Brezhnev is in power or Putin is in power. So there are some elements of foreign policy that deal with permanent interests. They don't deal with individuals. We have never had a stable relationship with Pakistan. And my experience of Pakistan has been that there is an immense fund of goodwill among the Pakistani people for us. So I have two pleas to make, which I've made in the book. Number one, we must leverage the goodwill among the Pakistani people for our relationship with that country's people, even if not with the state. So with the people, we mustn't punish them for acts of state. And we're doing that by denying them visas. Their relatives in huge numbers live in India, and I lived among them, I worked among them for 3 years. I issued more than 3 lakh visas in 3 years. I brought in 10 Pakistani journalists to the window from which we handed out the passports. After I had succeeded in reaching 1 lakh visas within 6 months of opening the visa office. And when these journalists handed over the 990, 9.9 lakh, 9.9 thousand visas, the last 10 visas, the last person got it. I gave him a tin of Darjeeling tea, and I maafied the visa fee. And suddenly, all the others waiting, they went into slogans. Hindustan ke Consul General, Zindabad, Zindabad. They were saying, yahan koi pabandi nahi, koi rishwat nahi.
Right.
Now, if that is the kind of reaction, and I've given several instances of this in my book, from the people of Pakistan when we are nice to them, why do we take it out on them when we want to quarrel with the state? And as far as the state is concerned, if we have the courage to go into surgical strikes against them, why do we have the courage to sit across a table from them? To sit across a table and conduct a dialogue with them does not amount to conceding everything that they want. But it does mean engagement. And I was, perhaps my happiest moment in this year has not been the welcome that is apparently being accorded to my book, according to my publisher. But when 5 former High Commissioners of India to Pakistan sat on a panel at the posthumous release of Sati Lamba's book, all 5 of them, who have been through some of the worst times in India-Pakistan relations, insisted that we must engage with the Pakistani state. To engage with them is not to lose out. And if we engage with them persistently, which I have used the expression,
uninterrupted
becomes somewhat notorious.
Yes.
Uninterrupted and uninterruptible. We've seen under Manmohan Singh that we can even talk Kashmir and arrive at a 4-point agreement.
Okay.
So therefore, I am not being starry-eyed as I'm portrayed as being when I plead for a good relationship or a viable relationship between India and Pakistan. I'm being utterly realistic. And I insist on this point that India cannot become a Vishwaguru